Is there any way to unite this country around very difficult foreign policy questions? Let me start with one, Iran. Is there a way to build a 70-some% majority in this country, a way where most people substantially agree with the policy? Is that possible?
Yeah, because I think that progress in Iraq affects Iran, Syria, and the entire region. Yeah, I do. But I think it's got to be explained to people. There's got to be listen, I got to explain to people why I don't want to sit down across the table from the president of Iran as long as he's sponsoring terrorist organization, as long as he's dedicated to the extinction of the state of Israel. But if he wants to communicate, there's plenty of ways to communicate without me enhancing his prestige sitting across the table from him. Those kinds of things have to be explained to the American people. And look, you travel around, you know as well as I, the level of skepticism about government is higher than I've seen it. I don't know if it's higher than you've seen it. You go back to Tip O'Neill.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at issues like WMD and the particular question of nuclear weapons, and we weren't able to find any. Maybe they're there somewhere in Iraq, but we haven't found them yet. The National Intelligence estimate, well, the National Intelligence estimate says we don't have an immediate near and present danger from Iran right now. But I'll tell you one thing about something I do cover, and that's politics. And up here and across the country, for the first time, Iraq is receding as a current campaign issue. It's going down from 46 to 36% as the #1 mentioned issue. What does that tell you about your prospects?
Well, I say thank God. I think it's going down, obviously, because it's off the front pages, because the violence is down dramatically. And I want to emphasize, Al-Qaeda is not defeated. They're on the run, but they're not defeated. And there's still enormous challenges in Iraq. There's been a lot of good news. Suicide bombers are the hardest thing to counter in warfare. Could I go back to Iran 1 second? I think that NIE may have misled us to some degree, because I think that the weaponizing of nuclear weapons is the easiest part, and if they continue the enrichment process, then I think we've still got a major challenge on our hands.
But if they're going to build a weapon, why wouldn't they be building a weapon?
I think because you can wait until you have sufficient enriched material and then move forward with the weaponization as well. If they had taken the Russian deal or they had halted their enrichment of uranium, I would feel a lot better. Switching back to Iraq again, I'm glad it's fading from the front pages, because that's the only sure sign of success. But I hope, even though it is receded as an issue, and I say this with great selfishness, that people would recognize that I'm the guy that opposed Rumsfeld and supported this strategy, which I think would help them make a judgment, would help them make a decision about my judgment.
Will troops in Iraq be an issue in the next presidential election? Well, we still have so many troops in Iraq. I really need to know this from you. Will it still be such a crying issue at home? We have so many troops in Iraq that it's going to be an issue that hounds us in the next presidential election.
No, I believe that if we proceed along this path and don't withdraw too quickly, that the key to it is that casualties will be way down. It's not American presence, it's American casualties. We've still got American troops in Bosnia. We've got them in South Korea. We've got them in Japan. Americans will willingly accept deployment of troops, but they want the casualties down. And if we can continue this way under this great Guy Petraeus, who should have been Time Magazine's Man of the Year.
Will you, to use your phrase, and I know you're not as dainty as this, will you, I know you would never do this, will you win in New Hampshire?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.